Okay, YouTube is started. Okay. All right. So for the activity that you had, where'd my thing go? There we go. All right. I want to share this with you to show you how you should answer a question. Now there was, and I had a small issue with this one too. Was the best one so far. All right. So when I asked the question of, do you have a medical examiner's office? Where's your medical examiner's? Most of you were able to give me the address, so that's good. But what you were also supposed to tell me is that for the second question, when I asked, do you have a chief forensic officer? This was the answer I was looking for. And some of you just gave me the doctor's name as if he was in Muskogee County. But the thing that you should have said was you don't have one, that um, bodies are sent to Atlanta, where the chief forensic pathologist there does the autopsy. So you don't do autopsies in Muskogee County. Okay, you need to know that. You do have a coroner. Most of you were able to tell me that it was Buddy Ryan. So, but like this one does say we have a coroner, but naming the coroner would be nice. And then you need to know the difference between what a medical officer does and what a coroner does. Okay, so like I said, if those of you who already did it, if you didn't get full credit, that's why, because you gave me a sketchy answer. So if it wasn't a good, nice full sentence for everything would be nice. But it is important that you know that you don't have a medical examiner in Muskogee County. All the autopsies are sent to, after the coroner has declared them dead, the bodies, if they need an autopsy, are sent to Atlanta. Okay. And then those of you who gave me the name of Dr. Jeffrey Smith, he's the forensic officer in Atlanta. He's not in Muskogee County. So that's why as I was grading them, I was getting two different names and I had to figure out, well, who's Jeffrey Smith? I couldn't figure out, he's not in Muskogee County. So I found him. He's in Atlanta. So make sure that those of you who haven't done it yet, you just differentiate between um, the two doctors. And actually, Mr. Bryant is not a doctor. He's just a coroner. Okay. All right. Now that most of you are in, I have a activity for you to do today. In Because it's Halloween coming up, I have a small whodunit activity for you to do. So, and I'm putting it in. I'm going to put the question in the chat right now. So take a look at this question. All right, this is your scenario. Okay. In a small town, and so it's in the chat, and I'm reading from the chat. In a small town, there's an old mansion rumored to be haunted. Every Halloween, someone dares to enter. But this year, a priceless artifact, a jeweled skull or historic book, went missing during the festivities. And the townspeople claim it's a work of a ghost, but you as the forensic investigator are going to suspect otherwise. All right, so I'm going to give you a task of what you need to do. You want to create evidence. So I want you to imagine, this require, because we can't do this in a classroom. So I want you to imagine that you are wandering through this building collecting evidence. So number one, collect evidence. Number two, you want to create some people to interview. witnesses, create some witnesses and create a story of what might have happened. Okay. All right. And then you want to present your evidence with closing arguments. Okay. So you're writing a short story. So again, a short story, but not too short. Use your imagination. This is a crime. See if you can solve this crime. So I'm going to leave that in the chat. Build on the rest of this story. So copy and paste that onto your document. Like that's the beginning of your story. And then you want to add to it by finding evidence and clues. You want to invent some people that might have been witnesses and talk and write down what they might have seen. Okay, you might want to add that you saw blood stains, you collected fingerprints, just be creative with it. It's your Halloween exercise. All right. And while you're doing that, I'll create a folder for you to upload it to. Right after I do attendance. Oops. I just let him in. Where'd he go? All right, so everybody, just to be clear, everybody should have a Word document out. You should copy and paste this scenario onto your Word document, your Google Doc, or however, and build your case. Create your Halloween story. Okay. Now copy and paste that and because I'm going to put it in the assignment folder as well. But go ahead. If you haven't done your um, medical examiner or versus coroner, do that first because that's due today. That's short. And then work on this. And this one I'll make due tomorrow, since tomorrow is Halloween. Ah, it definitely should be more than 250 words because you got to make sure, and I've already given you a good paragraph, so that's a lot of words right there. Um, but you need to put it in sections. Put it in sections where you gathering clues. So do at least 3 paragraphs. One where you're gathering clues, one you're talking to um, witnesses, and then your final conclusion. So 3 separate paragraphs in addition to the one that I've just given you. So that's the introduction. After that, you want to have a paragraph for clues, how you collect, how you went through the house and collected clues. Next one on witnesses you talked to. And lastly, your conclusion paragraph. Okay, that help? All right, I had somebody to log in and then they logged out. Okay. Attendance. I'm putting the assignment in Canvas now. So, but basically you're building on the case study story that's in you're creating your own story. So you need to come up with evidence. So imagine, I guess this is a lot of imagination. Imagine that you're going through this haunted house. And what kinds of things would you find? Where would this skull have been located? How do you know it's missing? Uh, Again, start your story by copying the case scenario onto the top of your document, and then have separate paragraphs where you collected evidence, how you analyzed it, any tools that you might have needed to use, any witnesses that you spoke to, and then come up with what you think happened. Who done it? Did it really happen? Was it ghosts? Did it really leave the building? All right, so it is now an assignment in Canvas. Let me see if you'll see it. Student. All right, so if you look on your homepage, it'll say Halloween Forensics Case Study, the Haunted House Heist. Okay, again, it's on your, refresh your page if you need to, but on your Canvas homepage, it will, let me go ahead and share so that we all are on the same page. All right, so on your Canvas page, it should be the Halloween Forensics Case Study. It'll come up like that. So the objective, you are tasked in solving a crime that took place in a spooky abandoned mansion. You need to examine for clues, analyze evidence, and use basic forensic techniques to catch your culprit. That's your objective. Okay. Now again, it would have been nice if we could have set up a classroom with all kind of stuff lying around. You're gonna have to use your imagination to create clues. What clues do you think you would find? It's a spooky abandoned mansion. What would you think you would find? All right, and then look at this scenario. Okay, you're going in this house that's supposed to be haunted. Every Halloween, someone dares someone to enter, but this year the priceless artifact that was in the house is missing during the festivities. So imagine that it's not only an old mansion, but it had a lot of antique relics lying around. Okay, nobody wants to say that anybody took it. The townspeople think it's a ghost. You know better because you're a forensics investigator. So you are going to figure out who stole this skull, this jeweled skull. Now you have two choices, a jeweled skull or a historic book. You do. So you can create whichever story you want. And then again, it should be at least 3 paragraphs, not including. So I do want you to include the case scenario at the top of your. Now you can put all of that at the top if you like, but that doesn't count. So it should be 3 paragraphs in addition to that. All right, any questions? Any questions? Again, if you haven't done your medical examiner's assignment, you need to do that first. I don't know why my thing is typing sideways. It didn't type sideways before. Does anybody know how to make the typing not go um, vertical instead of horizontal? Oops, I spelled evidence wrong. And it doesn't always happen, just every once in a while, typing decides it wants to go one word at a time. Is everybody straight on what they should be doing? Class is almost over today. Anybody have a question about what needs to be in the story and what doesn't? All right, so it's due tomorrow. And if you're good, uh, class is over. See you tomorrow.